Thank you, Mr. Chair. So a couple of quick points. I heard it said here that there are many options currently for repair. When I had a fan break in my Xbox, I only had one option. I had to send it back to Microsoft. I had to wait several weeks. It was expensive, and then I got back a unit which was probably not the same unit I sent in. Obviously, they wipe all the data and say that you won't have any problem restoring all your accounts. And maybe it's actually harder than that. My point here is that this is about competition. There's no competition. If there's competition, then people would have to try to get that console repaired more quickly. They'd have to get it back to me in a way that I want it as a consumer. So I wanted to kind of probe into that. I recognize the need for protecting digital copyright, and I think that's absolutely legitimate, but a broken fan is not part of that. When a pad on my Xbox controller gets worn because it's old, I don't see a copyright problem with taking the thing apart and putting in a new pad. Why do I have to get a super special screwdriver in order to do that? So, I think that's really the focus here. It's not about being able to get into every little electronic component in this thing. It's about being able to fix a USB port or a worn piece of rubber. So could you talk about that?
And here we have a young Democrat senator in the United States fighting the good fight. The reason I'm saying that he is doing justice in the world is because he is protecting the consumer from corporations that are taking advantage on the fact that a lot of senators and politicians happen to be old people who do not play on consoles and do not use all the latest gadgetry and technology. And as such, they're more likely to vote for legislation that will affect younger generation. But this doesn't happen to be the case in this situation, because they had the misfortune of meeting a senator that actually owns an Xbox and knows what he is talking about. And he does talk about a serious issue. You see, big corporations are trying to now pass legislation that would make it very difficult, if not impossible, for these little stores that repair your Xbox or repair your phones to exist. Because the new law would consider that within an Xbox or within a smartphone, it's intellectual property. And as such, a store opening it would have access to the secret knowledge on how these things are made, and they shouldn't exist. The only way you should be able to repair a product, like for example your Xbox, would be to take it to a Microsoft approved store. Or if you want to repair your iPhone, you would need to take it to Apple. And this is the problem that the senator is highlighting. It's like you would kill competition. If the only place I can take to repair my console would be at an Xbox store, why would Xbox then not charge more for the price, knowing that you can't really go anywhere else? In fact, most of these companies do not even want to repair your product to begin with. They want you to purchase a new one. Like, here's an example. I have a Samsung, and it's an older model, and unfortunately I managed to crack it a little here. It's a little bit chipped, and when it also fell down, the button here managed to get stuck. So I just wanted to unstuck the button because the phone is constantly shifting between open and close. And in order to fix this, what they told me is that they need to replace the whole thing. They need to replace the whole package in order to fix this little dial here. It would cost me almost the same as if I were to go out and buy the new Samsung version that's out on the market now. And this is what companies want. They don't want you to repair a product once you bought it. They want you to buy a new one when it gets broken. And it's very easy to get one of these things broken. All you have to do is to drop it from a table. And if you still don't believe me, I would like to remind you that both Apple and Samsung were fined after they were revealed to use updates which would slow older models of phones so that people wanted to upgrade more. It is absolutely horrible that this is happening, and it's not only in the video gaming industry or the phone industry. It seems that farmers are experiencing the same problems with tractors, where farmers would prefer to buy older tractors because the new ones, while they look like a spaceship inside, they're very nice and polished. Whenever they break down, you need to go to a specific place that has a specific computer which can repair them. And apparently repairing them is, again, very expensive, to the point where some people might prefer to just buy the newer model of a tractor. And it's this type of thinking, this type of doing business that corporations are having now. And they want even more power. They want to consolidate even more power so that the only place you would be able to repair your Samsung phone would be in a place approved by Samsung. And this is not just about money, by the way. For example, Apple claims that if you happen to drop your phone in water, like let's say you drop it in the toilet by accident, and all your data has been lost, all of your holiday photos, all of your baby pictures, all of that is lost, they claim that there is no way you can get the data back. However, it seems that you can get your data back. There is a woman which has a business doing exactly that. And she is able to recover the lost information that Apple claims you can't get. And what happened to this woman? Well, of course, she got banned from the Apple forums because she was contradicting what the company is saying. Now, I genuinely thought, why would it be the case that Apple doesn't want to just restore the information from people that claim they have lost it? And it's probably because it's their company policy to say that the information you have on your phone gets to stay only on your phone. However, what ends up happening is that people can prove that this is not the case if they were to tinker and find out how the phone actually works, which is why such a legislation that would forbid people from tinkering with what's inside the gadget, but because it would violate the copyright of the gadget manufacturer, would benefit the company because now they can claim that your gadget has certain features that in fact it does not. A perfect example of this would be the video game SimCity, which the company managed to say that this is going to be an online-only game, and there is absolutely no way that you can do in order to play it offline. And yet, yay and behold, it seems that people have managed to mod the game and reveal that the corporation was lying to the consumer. Another example would be with the Xbox that was online only and could not work outside of the cloud. These were the initial claims by Microsoft, and they only changed their stance once the new PlayStation was revealed to work just fine offline. So having a competitor on the market that was giving a more desirable product to the consumers forced Microsoft's hand to rewind some of the very draconian business practices that they wanted to do with Xbox. So with that said, what do you think the lobbyist answered to the politician who happened to have an Xbox?
Senator, we recognize that this is an issue that many members of this body are concerned about, and we do look forward to having more robust conversations about this. Simply passing this legislation, we think, is ill-considered. We would like to have more robust conversations. I believe that we get to have that opportunity with some of the conversations that a number of us have had earlier this week. And your comments will be taken into serious consideration as we go on with that. But at this point, this is not something that we think that this committee nor the legislature should move.
So, first of all, I love the expression on the lobbyist's face. It's like, oh God, he knows. He actually understands what this legislation we're trying to pass is about. And also the very standardized corporate response, as well as like, can we not speak about this now when it's a public hearing? Can we not talk about it behind closed doors, please? You know, maybe we can grease some wheels. Maybe we can use some of that American free speech that we call money in order to smooth things along a little bit and not have these very uncomfortable and yet very based questions that every consumer would probably want to ask. So yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know about a couple of issues that concern us all as consumers, because I remember a couple of years ago, I would buy a phone and it would last me for 5-6 years. Nowadays, you buy a phone and by the time the new one comes out, yours is already damaged, and if you want to repair it, well, you kind of have to pay almost the same amount of money as if buying a new one. And it's not just with phones, it's with consoles and with a lot of things. And I don't think this is good for us, the consumers. It's good for the business. It's good for the big business, but until I get to happen to have some stocks at Microsoft, I'm not going to root for them. I'm going to root for my interests. So, no, I definitely think it would be a bad idea if some legislation would somehow make all these small gadget shops go away. These places where you can take your phone and have it fixed, or take your console and have it fixed. It would be really bad if they were to go away and the only place you could take your gadgets would be to an authorized shop. Not to mention, like, this could catch on, and then you could have, like, even the cars. Oh, you have a Volvo? Well, now you only need to take it to a Volvo service. It's basically about getting people to be in the mindset that this is acceptable and is the new normal. Because right now, I mean, if you have a BMW, sure, you can take it to any service you want. And there are BMW approved services that arguably do a better job. But imagine if you wouldn't have that choice at all. Imagine if you could only take it to the BMW service. Well, that would kind of suck a little bit now, wouldn't it? So, anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll see you guys there.